Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abam. Today, this morning, we start a new subject in Mishna Berura Daf Hashavua. We're beginning holiest Tefillah, Siman Pei Test. Holiest Tefillah, Uzmana. The halachos of Tefillah and the Zman for Tefillah. So we're going to learn what is the ideal time to daven and what is the b'diavad time to daven. The Mechaber says, "Man tfilas Hashachar mitzvasa sheyaschil im hanetz hachama." The time of tfilas Hashachar, the mitzvah, is to begin with hanetz hachama. We'll see what hanetz hachama is. Sunrise is a very general term because the sun is always on the move. It's always rising. So what exactly is sunrise? How much sun needs to be seen? How much light needs to be seen? Says Mechaber K'dechsiv, how do we know that the ideal time to daven is with hanetz hachama? Like it says, Yira'ucha im shamesh, they will fear you with the sun. It's a pasuk in Tehillim. V'im hispalel misha'ala amar hashachar, if you davened from the time that literally the pillar of the morning rises. Now, in yeshivas, they would teach us when we're kids, amar hashachar is the morning star. It's wrong. It's not the morning star. If you daven when the morning star rises, you're not even yotze b'diavad. Amar hashachar is something else entirely. We'll see in the Be'er Halacha. V'heir pnei hamizrach. So you need amar hashachar and the entire eastern horizon lights up. Yatsa, you're yotze b'diavad. Okay, so l'charchila, the mitzvah is, the ideal is to daven with hanetz, like it says, Yira'ucha im shamesh. And if you daven from Amar HaShachar and Heir Pnei HaMizrach Yotzei, v'nimshach zman ad Seif arba shois. The Zman Shachris continues until the end of 4 hours, namely a third into the day, Shu Shlish Hayom. V'imta, if a person made a mistake, Oyavar, or he intentionally violated, V'spal achar arba shois ad chatzos, he daven after 4 hours until chatzos, afal pi she'en loi sachar ketfilas, Ketfila bizmana, even though there's no reward for davening at the right time, but schar tefila miya'ika, you do get reward for davening. So you don't get credit for davening at the right time, but you do get credit for davening. Haga va'achar chatzos, after chatzos asur lehispalel tfilas shachris. It's asur to daven tfilas shachris. Va'ayin lekaman reish siman kovchas. After chatzos you're not daven shachris. Fine. Let's see the Mishna Berura. I would like to see some of the Be'er Halachas. I think maybe today we'll try to do the Mishna Beruras on the Amar Aleph, and maybe tomorrow we'll take a look at some of the Be'er Halachas. Okay, says the Mishna Berura, Im hanetz. What is hanetz? You know, there's a question. How do you say the word? Is it hanetz hachama or netz hachama? You know, people say, I'm going to a netz minyan. Technically, it should be, I'm going to a hanetz minyan. Comes from a lashon of heinitzu hari mainim. Heinitzu. There's a question, is there even a word netz? Okay. Says Mishna Berura, Hi hasha shachama maschalas lizrayach berashe haharim. It's the time that the sun begins to shine on the top of the mountains. Meaning, not when you can't go to the ocean and say, oh, I see the sun rising above the horizon. No, pal, it's still middle of the night then. You know, it's very nice that you decided to camp out and to go to the water when nobody's there, thinking that when the sun, the orb, rises above the horizon, it's netz hachama. That has nothing to do with netz hachama. It's not netz hachama. Netz hachama is when it's seen berashe haharim, much, much higher up. That's the Mishna Berura. If you daven then, we'll see. It's a question whether you're even yotzei. It is fitting, it is correct to be careful even during slichos. Likewise, in the winter, when you get up early and you come very early to the shul, you need to wait to daven until hanetz ukidol el b'siman nun chesef aleph ayin sham. Ach kishamash gim latzis ladarach. If you have to leave early on the road, uchahai gavna shar dechak va'oines, or some other pressing, extenuating circumstance, the mutter lahakdim, that it's mutter to daven earlier, kilikaman b'sivches, al kalpanim yamtinu milavarech al atfilin ad sheyakers chaveroi haragel imoy ktsas berichuk dalaramis. Meaning, when you have an extenuating circumstance where we allow you to daven, perhaps by Alos Hashachar, however, nevertheless, you cannot make a bracha on tefillin until you get to the stage of mishayaker. Mishayaker is when you can recognize somebody who you're somewhat familiar with 4 amos away. Now, when is mishayaker? We're going to see somebody who davens Neitz HaChama regularly. The Be'er Halacha says early in Siman Ches that if there's no minyan, you could daven b'yechidos. So there is an idea that davening at Neitz HaChama is so chaviv and chashuv that it, so to speak, in a way, fulfills the requirement of what a minyan does. Now, what is mishayaker? What is mishayaker? The Be'er Halacha brought the shita of the Pri Megadim that it's about a tenth of an hour, 6 minutes after Alos Hashachar, which is an incredible shir. It's the most lenient shir you could possibly imagine. That mishayaker would be 6 minutes after Alos Hashachar. The Minchas Yitzchak writes that even though the Be'er Halacha questions many other things the Pri Megadim says there, on this shir, he does not question. The Minchas Yitzchak brings that the Gdoilei Zmanenu write that it's between a quarter of an hour and a half hour after Alos. Lamaisa, most poskim say it's later than that. The Kaf HaChaim and Rabbi Yehuda write that Yerushalayim, the minhag is that it's an hour before Neitz HaChama. So instead of 6 minutes after Alos, an hour before the Neitz. So that's like 12 minutes or so after the Alos. Some say 52 minutes before Neitz. The last Talmud says 40 minutes before Neitz. Rav Moshe says that he did an experiment in the mountains and it's between 35 to 40 minutes before Haneitz. Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky says that it's not less than 36 minutes before Haneitz. Meaning, you can't do it before that. And even 37 minutes is a suffix. Rav Shlomo Zalman says it's less than 50 minutes. Rabbi Yoshev says, don't put on talis and tefillin until you get to 30 minutes before Neitz HaChama. So Rabbi Yoshev is the pretty much the most machmer shita. He says, don't put on talis and tefillin until you get to 30 minutes before Haneitz HaChama. Fine. Now, the Mishnah Berura continues. By the way, Rabbi Yoshev is saying, not only should you not make the bracha, you shouldn't even put it on. Don't even put it on. Don't put on talis and tefillin until you get to 30 minutes before Neitz. Fine. Kasav Pri Megadim Siman Tav Tzadi Daled. What about Shavuos? Shavuos, you're up the whole night. So then what? You got to wait to daven shachas till Neitz HaChama? No, the b'chag Shavuos sheneyorin kalayla mutar l'spal koydem haneitz. You could daven before haneitz. D'chsheyelchu lebeisa mahashkama, because when people go home early, tayrachu l'skabetz shenis. When the night is over, the night is over. Nobody's coming back to daven shachar, so you could daven earlier. However, don't say Shema so early. That is, before you see your friend, 4 amos away, and you can recognize them. This is asur l'charchila, k'da'el b'simin nunches ayin sham. Fine. Amud Hashachar. What is Amud Hashachar? This is a very ambiguous and misinterpreted term. What is the pillar of the morning? Mishnah Berura says, Amud Hashachar hu maschel hashachar lahavrik b'miktsasei ma'at ma'at. That's when the morning begins to illuminate little by little. When exactly is it? somewhere between 72 and 96 minutes before Netzach Hama. The Magen Avram says it's the amount of time it takes to walk 4 mil. Now, how long does it take to walk a mil? The Bir Halacha in Siman Nun Ches, the Mishnah Berura later on Siman Tzadi Beis, and later on in Siman Tuf Nun Tes, right, that a mil is 18 minutes. However, there are those who say it's 22 and a half minutes. Some say it's up to 24 minutes. And there's a question whether these 4 mil are evaluated based on Sha'is Mani'ais or not, depending on the time of the year. So Amar HaShachar, let's say, for argument's sake, is 72 minutes before Hanetzach Hama. Now, the Mechaber adds, you also need Heir Pnei Mizrach. Umashim Yidimar Mechaber. De koidem Heir af b'di'eved lo yatsa. V'chein hiskimu harbe achreinim. De loy k'magen Avram v'ayim b'bir halacha. So in other words, the Bir Halacha, maybe we'll read it tomorrow, says V'loi k'may shetoyin eza anoshim, that the Amar HaShachar is the morning star, Koichva de Tzafra, which is much earlier than that. But before Heir Mizrach, even if it's Allah Amar HaShachar, loy yatsa af b'di'eved. So, if it's Amar HaShachar, but the eastern horizon is not totally lit up, you're not yotzei davening even b'di'eved. The fact that you see light is irrelevant, does not make it morning. Pnei Mizrach, Uba'inan, says Mishnah Berura, Sheyar Kol Pnei Mizrach. You need the whole eastern horizon to light up. It's not enough that the morning, there's like a breach of light, like a dot. Okay, so you need the entire eastern horizon for it to be considered Allah Amar HaShachar, just to be Yotzei B'di'eved. But you wake up in the morning, you say, I see the sun, I see a little dot, there's light on the eastern horizon. You could daven Marav, pal, but you can't daven Shachris. Okay, says Rabbi Kiva Eger that even though you see stars after Heir Pnei Mizrach, because of Rabbi Kiva Eger, Da'afta Shakechavim Nirim Adayin Barakia, still Mikol Makom Yoimhu, it's still considered the day. Let's see briefly the first Bir Halacha. Bir Halacha says, Amar HaShachar Nikra Mashamaschel Ha'orlis Noitzes B'Pas HaMizrach. Amar HaShachar is when the light begins to flicker, to sparkle on the eastern horizon. Koidem HaNetzach Hama Kishir Shah V'Chomesh Shah, about 72 minutes, an hour and a fifth of an hour. A fifth of an hour is 12 minutes. Not like some people mistakenly say it's when the morning star rises. That's much earlier. Before the eastern horizon lights up. Afsha Allah Amar HaShachar lo yatsa af b'di'eved. V'chein mashma b'divei Rabbi Rucham v'das hamagen Avram v'apri chadash d'misha Allah Amar HaShachar yatsa b'di'eved. D'yoimu. The Magen Avram and the Pri Chadash said you would be yatsa b'di'eved. Uver Pri Magad mefakvik b'zeh. After be'etzem adin mashma d'sriya lei kedavreim. Even though the Pri Megadim is mashma that may ikar adin, he agrees. That even though midairaisa you could consider a day when it's Allah Amar HaShachar even before Heir Pnei Mizrach, and that's why b'shas hadchak mutar l'chachila take of misha Allah Amar HaShachar, but shaloi b'shas hadchak. The Pri Megadim proves like the Rambam that b'di'eved lo yatsa misha'ala Amar HaShachar. Okay, so the opinion of the Pri Megadim is, now the Magen Avram and the Pri Chadash say misha'ala Amar HaShachar yatsa b'di'eved. The Pri Megadim questions that. He says shaloi b'shas hadchak. Just because you're an early bird, if you daven misha'ala Amar HaShachar, hopefully you'll get credit for mincha that day. But shachris you're not getting. Because sha'ala Amar HaShachar is not good enough. You need Heir Pnei Mizrach. But here's the whopper. Amnam b'yoyser mizem matzina b'sefer Eliyahu Rabbah u'v'sefer Mat Yehuda v'hagra b'sifrei shnos Eliyahu kulam ke'echad hiskimu da'ad sheyar ha'mizrach afilu b'di'eved einoi yoytze amud Allah amud hashachar is not going to work. Why? Mitam da'adayin hu b'chlal layla ad sheyar ha'mizrach. It's still night. So the Pri Megadim says it's day, but if shaloi b'shas hadchak you won't be yoytze. The Gra says more than that. No, it's night. Whenever the Poskim say Allah Amid HaShachar according to the Gra, that means Hainu Heyer HaMizrach. And when it says in the Mishna Megillah Daf Chaf, the Kulan Sha'asu Misha'Allah Amid HaShachar, that's Heyer Pnei HaMizrach. That's the Shita of the Gra. This is the Shita of the Mechaber. And then we'll just do one more line. V'ha'mechaber samach bezeh adal el b'reish hasiman. The mechaber relies on what he said earlier in the beginning of the siman. Da'achar sheher davka. D'shas hadchak lechatchila. B'shas hadchak lechatchila is not more lenient. Einoi kil mishaloi b'shas hadchak d'di'aved. Therefore, the Be'er Halacha concludes uladina. Bevadai yesh lachosh l'cholhani rabsa b'chol davar shemitzvasa b'yoyim that im masu kodim sheher ha'mizrach you gotta do it again. You hear this? That if somebody did a mitzvah after Amud HaShachar before Heir Pnei HaMizrach, you need to repeat the mitzvah. However, by tefillah you can make the following chiluk. He says shaloi b'shas hadchak you should be machmir af b'di'eved like the Eliyahu Rabbah and the Gra. But b'shas hadchak, efshir diyesh lismaich on the Magen Avram, the Pri Chadash, and the Pri Megadim, not to daven again, because maybe it will be a brach levatala. It's not pashut, you don't have to daven again. L'chatchila, even b'shas hadchak, you should not daven misha'al amid hashachar, you have to wait until heir pnei kol mizrach. That's Allah. So the bottom line is, for sure, even b'shas hadchak, you should not daven misha'al amid hashachar. You should definitely daven misheher pnei mizrach. If you did daven misha'al amid hashachar, it's not clear what you should do. It's really a bad jam. Maybe you have to daven again misafik as a tfilas nedava. The Be'er Halacha says, well, maybe you could be samich on the Magen Avram and the Pri Chadash and the Pri Megadim. Not pashat. But shaloi b'shas hadchak, then for sure you would have to repeat the davening if you davened misha'al amid hashachar before Heir Pnei Kol Mizrach. Okay, we'll hold it over here. Rabbi Say, have a great day. Kol Tov.
What's the actual time difference between the two again? Between Heir Pnei Mizrach and Rosh Hashanah?
He doesn't say. He doesn't give any time. So look, the interesting thing is there's a shita that it's got to be before Mishiakir. Yeah, it has to be before Mishiakir. And there is a shita Mishiakir 6 minutes after Alos Hashachar, which I don't think, practically speaking, in America, we would follow. You know, it has to be at least 35 minutes before Neitz HaChama. When is Heir Pnei Mizrach? You'll see. Go, look in the east and make sure the whole eastern horizon is lit up. But there's no Zman given, right? Every other. We know what Alos is. We know what Neitz is. We know what Mishayakir is. We don't have a shir really for.
What's Alos definition?
72 minutes before Neitz.
No, I know the Zman. What does it mean? What does it mean? No, it's not the light.
The light begins to rise. The light of the sun begins to rise.
The first drop of light.
No, not the first drop of light.
Not the first drop of light.
No, absolutely not.
Those things are because we don't know what does it mean.
It's a significant. The answer is 72 minutes. It's when a significant amount of light of the sun appears on the eastern horizon. That's Alos Hashachar. But that's still not good enough. You need Heir Pnei Kol Pnei HaMizrach.
So a more significant amount of light.
No, you need the whole eastern horizon.
We don't know what this means.
We do. Look outside, and when you see the whole eastern side is lit up, then it's Heir Pnei Kol HaMizrach. So in other words, Nekuda Katana, what people do, they go to the beach and they see the orb of the sun rise above the sand. That's a good barometer to know they could daven Marav then. But it has nothing to do with Shachris. In other words, if they want to know when to daven Marav, when they get up early to do their thing, whatever they're doing over there, their ritual prayer, if they want to know, could they daven Marav? Yeah, when they see the orb of the sun rise above the sand, they could daven Marav. The Netzach Chama, yeah. So Amar Hashachar is, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Have a good day.